Hi, I'm Tanner Courtright, and for my final project, I chose to analyze the documentary Angry Inuk, directed by Inuk filmmaker Athlea Arnak Baril. This film explores the Inuit seal hunt and challenges global misconceptions about it. It's not just a documentary, it's an act of indigenous resistance, and it strongly connects with the themes we've discussed in class, including colonialism, cultural identity, resistance, and survivance. Angry Inuk Indigenous Resistance, Identity, and Voice. Angry Inuk is a 2016 feature documentary that shows how global activism can harm Indigenous communities. The film reveals how well meaning animal rights campaigns like those by Greenpeace and PETA actually contribute to economic and cultural harm for Inuit people. What stood out to me the most was how the film gives Inuit people the chance to tell their own story on their own terms. It's emotional, informative, and forces the viewer to rethink their assumptions. Althea Arnak Baril is an award-winning filmmaker who uses her platform to empower Inuit voices and challenge colonial narratives. She forms Inuktitut Nunavut and founded Unok Studios to create space for Inuit stories. What makes Angry Inuk unique is that Althea includes herself in the film. She talks directly to the audience and gives us a window into her experiences. Not only as a filmmaker, but as someone deeply affected by their issues, she covers by the issues she covers. Her presence makes the story feel more intimate, real, and emotionally honest. I think that seeing her in the film and seeing her be an activist outside of the film is very important, and it really can help the reader and educator to connect in a way. Seal hunting is an essential part of Inuit life, not just for survival, but also for economic stability. The practice has existed for generations and is deeply tied to land, tradition, and sustainability. But when international groups began campaigning against seal hunting, their message ignored Indigenous voices. As a result, major trade bans like the European Union's in 2009 devastated the Inuit communities that depended on selling seal products for their livelihood. Seal hunting was vital for them, and they were vital for clothing, economics, and food for the entire Inuit people. Thousands of years of sustainable practice was the seal hunting. Global campaigns led to bans on seal products. That was the EU 2009 ban. Economics collapsed in Inuit communities when that ban was passed, and non Inuit groups shared the narrative. The film's style is personal and immersive. It blends interviews, protest footage, and traditional Inuit music to bring us closer to the lived experience of the community. One of the most powerful scenes for me was when I was watching the Inuit child speak about their culture with pride. Even as the world misunderstood them, the close up shots of the seal hunting are respectful, not sensationalized. The music, especially the throat singing, gives the film a spiritual and cultural rhythm that stays with you, and it really shows the passion within their culture. It shows the uniqueness of how they celebrate, it shows the uniqueness of what they do within their culture. Angry Nook functions as a tool of resistance. It informs viewers, challenges stereotypes, and demands justice. Watching the film changed my perspective before seeing it. I did a little bit of research before I looked over this topic, figuring out which one to pick. And I didn't fully understand how animal rights activism could become a form of colonial violence. The format, a documentary that's personal, political, and emotional, makes it especially effective, and it invites empathy rather than just argument. It provides emotion to so many people in just the way that they celebrate their culture and how they function and what they need to function and why everything is so important to them, even when people like me couldn't have seen it before I did my research on it. The film represents resistance by showing how Inuit people push back against outside forces that try to erase or control their culture. It also shows survivance. Gerald Bisnor's concept of survival plus resistance is a great example of that because the Inuit people continue their traditions while adapting to a globalized world. Rather than accepting their victim status, they assert their voice. The film exposes how Western media often portrays Inuit people as primitive or violent without understanding their culture. Angry Inuk corrects this, showing Inuit identity as complex and modern and grounded in ancient tradition. It also helps the viewer connect through emotional and passionate ways. The film rejects stereotypes and reclaims Inuit dignity. This helped me better understand how media shapes public opinions and how Indigenous media resist that power. It also helped me relate with something that was so far out of touch before I did my research. Angry Inuk helped me connect all the major themes of this course: colonialism, resistance, and cultural identity, and more. It reminded me that cultural expression isn't just about creativity, it's about survival. I realized how important it is to hear Indigenous voices directly, not filtered through outsiders. It made me reflect on my own role as a consumer of media and how I can support Indigenous narratives more respectfully and more responsibly. Thank you for watching my presentation on Angry Inuk. I chose this film because I think it represents how Indigenous media can correct harmful narratives and restore dignity to Indigenous communities. It challenged my assumptions and helped me better understand the themes of this course, especially resistance, survivance, and cultural identity. I hope this film encouraged others to listen more deeply to Indigenous voices and stories. Thank you.